I'm Logan Webb, and you're listening to Torture Cast.
Swinging. There's a high drive. Deep into left center field. It's on its way. Adios! Pelota!
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants!
A grand slam for Buster Posey's good friend.
A podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Chad King, Eric Nathanson, and Willie Dills. This is the Torture Cast.
It's Wednesday, August 27th, 2025, and this is episode 323 of the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. I'm your host, Chad King, and wow, it's amazing when the Giants play a little bit better baseball, we come on air with a little bit more of a smile on our faces, I guess. Eric is with me, and we're in good moods, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the way they played that series against Milwaukee, and now this is going to be, 2 straight against the Cubs, 4 straight wins in general. If you look at it, it's a lot more fun to talk about a team when they're playing like this. It's just fun to be able to watch winning baseball for a minute. So, like you, I'm a little happy right now.
Yeah, earlier tonight it was 7-3 Giants over the Cubs. They won last night 7-1, and Rafi Devers came up with 2 runners on against ex-Giant Taylor Rogers, which of course we had forgotten, who was immediately traded from the Reds to the Cubs. I don't think he even put on the uniform this year anyway. I don't know. It was a crazy mix-up, but here he is against off his, I guess they were never teammates, but an ex-Giant to a current Giant.
I guess you're right. They never were.
Hit well. Out of here.
That was a 3-run home run by Rafi, and that gave the Giants a 10-7 lead, or 10-3 lead just a few minutes ago. Matt Chapman hit a solo shot, and currently it's 11-3 in the 8th inning. So if they hold on tonight, which hopefully they will, that's 4-2 record since we recorded last week. Not too bad. They took 2 or 3 in Milwaukee, taking this one here, the first 2 against Chicago before the afternoon double dip businessman special tomorrow. Maybe they can creep back to 500. We'll see what happens.
Right. I thought this was a stretch that might kill them. Per my buddy Chris Corbett, this is the 10th straight game the Giants have homered in, something they haven't done since 2021. So, that's kind of a positive sign, too. I didn't even notice that they homered in every game in Milwaukee and the last few games in San Diego, or probably all the games in San Diego, if I'm doing my math right. Yeah. So that makes sense, though, because they had all those solo homers that Monday game. Absolutely.
Even though they lost 3 out of 4.
Yeah, they totally did.
Which really hurt. But Willie Adames went back to Milwaukee, and that was pretty cool, actually. He got a standing ovation from the Brewer fans and then immediately hit a home run in his first at-bat. And he ended up hitting 2 that game. So then they started booing him. It was fantastic.
It was. They turned so fast. And, they're Wisconsin people. They're supposed to be nice, but I'm from Chicago, so I look at them a little differently. I think they're all a bunch of rubes. No, just kidding. But, we don't – it's not like Minnesota nice where you just expect them to be nice. But it was kind of fun to see the fans turn on him right at that moment. And just for Willie, I mean, he got a fastball middle in his first pitch. Yeah, back at Miller or American Family Field, whatever it's called now, and did what you're supposed to do with it, and that's always a good thing to see.
Yeah, it was. Hey, look, each team kind of stole a win, I would say. Milwaukee walked it off in the first game. The Giants kind of won big. What was it, 7-1 the second game, and then they, were down by a run in the 9th inning. They were down to their last strike, and Ramos got a single up the middle, which scored 2 runs and ended up being the winning run. So they could have easily lost 2 out of 3, just as easily as they could have swept, to be honest. It was one of those series where it could have teetered either way based on one play in each of those 2 games. But the fact of the matter is they did win 2 out of 3 against the best team in baseball. They had won 20 of 25, the Brewers had, coming into that series. So it was nice that the Giants could kind of cool them off. And we were talking pre-game or pre-show here that it looks like they're going to take at least the first 2 out of 3 here. They could sweep tomorrow. They won the season series against the Brewers and the Cubs, and yet they lose the season series against the Marlins and the White Sox and other teams like that. And we're like, what the hell, man? Like, I have no problem with them beating up on good teams. That's great. But at the same time, this whole epic streak they've had for the better part of 2 months, they really lost to some really crappy teams, man. And if they could have turned a few of those around, we'd be talking different. But it's still nice to see the spark coming back.
Yeah, it's weird that they step it up against these better teams. It's been a lot of fun to see. Like that series in Milwaukee, Flem talked about it, especially on Sunday. He's like, it's had a playoff type atmosphere to it. It's just nice to watch exciting baseball. It's been so depressing for us for so long over the last couple months that it was nice to see some games that felt like they mattered a little bit. Look at this. They're going to be 4-1 against the Cubs now. Against Cincinnati, they went 3-3. Milwaukee, they went 5-2. Pittsburgh, I know they went 2-4. Who am I missing?
See, there's a good example there.
Who's the other team? Maybe they should move to the NL Central themselves. that would apparently work out for them. To be fair, because I'd love to say they step it up against the good teams, but they sucked against the Padres over the last couple weeks.
Really
so it's not like they are stepping their game up against good teams. It just seems to be good teams they don't see often. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun watching that series in Milwaukee. And so far, this series against the Cubs, it has been a lot of fun to watch. Last night, they seemed to control the whole way, and they're putting the shellacking on tonight. It's wonderful. They only got 3 more outs to get to secure this victory.
Yeah, already down there to 3 outs. Yesterday at home, Justin Verlander out in the City Connect, the ugly City Connects. He finally won his first home game of this season, 2nd overall. But it was also his first career victory at Oracle Park, or whatever this name of the stadium has ever been. And it was actually pretty funny. First of all, it's the end of August. And yeah, he was on the IL for a little bit of time this year, but for the most part, he's been healthy this year. And it's his first home win. It's kind of crazy. We've already beat the dead horse of how, look, he hasn't been the best pitcher this year, but he has not deserved the winless streak that he has had. He easily should have. He came out, there were 6 games in a row at one point in which he left with the lead, and the Giants lost all of them. He has just had some epic streaks. And that's, when the Giants had a good bullpen, too. It was just weird. It was whatever bad mojo that the bullpen, kind of caught for the week, always were on Verlander starts. I don't know why. And, he was joking about it. But last night, I don't have the audio clip right here. But if you guys missed it, he did say, they were telling him, hey, that's your first win at Oracle Park ever. And he's like, no offense, but I wish I had one in 2012. And then he gives a little smirk to the media, obviously referencing the World Series when he was with the Tigers, because the Giants beat up on him twice with Panda hitting 2 bombs off him in that game number 1. I was there. It was amazing. But yeah, he was just playing with it. Now, I think there's 2 more active parks in which he does not have a win. I believe one was Camden Yard. No, it wasn't Camden. What was it?
Oh, that can't be possible.
No, it's not Camden because he was with Detroit all those years.
Right.
They said it last night. And
it's got to be NL. It's got to be NL.
Yeah,
Parks.
I think one was Milwaukee for sure. And the other one I forget. But anyway, he talked about hopefully getting one of those this year. Again, one win closer to 300, but that's a pie in the sky at this point. They didn't address that. The other thing, though, is last night. Yeah, he got to 35-20 career strikeouts, passing Walter Johnson and moving into 9th in the all-time list. But he's also just 14 strikeouts away from reaching 8th all-time. And who would he pass? Giants legend Gaylord Perry. So they asked him about that, and he said, yeah, someone in the meal room told him it was Gaylord Perry. And he's like, oh, okay. So that's pretty cool. He's passing a Giant, whatever. I don't really care about Gaylord Perry being knocked down a notch. But that's pretty amazing. We saw Nolan Ryan when we were younger. We've seen Randy Johnson. We've seen some of these epic K pitchers, but it's cool to see someone who's in the top 10 of strikeouts all time. Clearly he's a Hall of Famer and he's going to go in. And again, he's one of those guys who will not be going in wearing a Giants hat on his bust. And 10 years from now, we'll be like, he was on the Giants? Oh, yeah, that's right. He had that 1 year on the Giants. But it's still pretty cool to see. I'm a fan of it.
You know, somebody pointed out in comments under our last podcast on Facebook, he has played for every team that has orange except for the Orioles. Every single
right.
team he played for.
Detroit,
The Tigers,
Mets,
the Astros,
Giants,
the Mets, and the
Astros.
Giants. And then the Orioles are that's it. Those are the only 5 teams in baseball that have orange as a color. And the only 4 teams he's played for are 4 of those 5. So obviously he's got to go sign with Baltimore next year to do it. But
really
it has been
odd thing. It's not like, he's played for 6 teams and 4 of them had orange. He's played for 4 teams and all of them have had orange. Like, he hasn't played for a non-orange team in his career. That's weird.
It's very weird. Like, when I saw the comment, I thought it was kind of a throwaway comment, and then I started thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I got to look this up. And I started going through all the teams, I'm like, Angels red, Diamondbacks don't have orange, St. Louis, Philly, the White Sox, Rockies, just go through all the teams, and none of them have orange except those 5 teams. And Baltimore is the only one he has not checked off his list, which is just really kind of funny if you think about it. I don't know if you saw Ramos just hit a homer. It's his second homer since the All-Star break.
Only his second, huh? Jeez. That's insane.
But with back on Verlander, it's been fun to watch him lately, actually. He has his hiccups, but he was pretty on yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wish that, we had gotten to see Verlander compete a little bit more. I mean, if the Giants don't blow like those leads you were talking about, they're over 500. Yeah. And we're talking about them competing for a wild card right now. But those Verlander starts that they happen to crap the bed on as a bullpen, even when they had a good bullpen, it's frustrating to see, because it is nice to see Verlander. But you're right. We're going to, 5 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, Verlander pitched for the Giants in 2025.
Isn't that odd? I just think that's the oddest thing.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
It's like Randy Johnson stands out more because he won his 300th game.
Yes.
With the Giants, so that was, and it's funny, that was a rain-shortened game against Washington. I don't know, maybe the game wasn't rain shortened. I just remember it was rainy as hell that day. But Verlander passing these strikeout milestones, it's cool to see in real time, but we'll never really think back to that. Like, oh yeah, I remember when Verlander, passed, Gaylord Perry on the strikeout list. Kershaw just threw his 3,000 strikeout last week or something like that, or a few weeks ago, and that stadium went nuts for it, and Giants fans did not necessarily go crazy. They made a big deal, I think, when he hit 3,500, but it's like, he's not really one of us. So it's kind of
no, not at all.
It's not that he's an imposter. It's just, it doesn't feel like one of our guys did it. So, you just kind of wish he had a better fate as a Giants pitcher.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he seems like a decent guy. I've never hated him. He lives one hell of a life, with his girlfriend and his career and all that stuff. You mentioned Kershaw, and this has crossed my mind several times. Do you remember way back when, obviously, Tim Lincecum was at the height of his popularity and his success, and he shared a Sports Illustrated cover with Clayton Kershaw, and Clayton had him in the headlock doing the noogie or whatever. And I remember that going, oh, these two, this is so awesome to have this rivalry between the Giants and the Dodgers, and to have these two aces be so good and so competitive with one another, even though one's tall and lanky and the other one's short, and, he uses his whole body. There couldn't be more different. But to see just how quickly Lincecum faded, and Kershaw's had his injury bug problems as he's gotten older, but the guy is still going out there. Just recently, like you said, he just, 3,000 strikeouts. He threw the other day 7 innings, 2 hits, shutout ball. I mean, he's still doing it. And, Lincecum's long gone. And it is kind of sad in that regard, because you just wish that Lincecum could have stuck around as long or close to as long as a Verlander or a Kershaw or one of these guys. And unfortunately, I think we all know it was just his body type. He just used every single ounce that he had, and of torque, of tendon, of muscle, of everything, and his body just couldn't. It just didn't have the stamina to last for many, many years like these other two guys have had. It's just one of those things where I often look back at that and just what could have been. What could have been if Lincecum had a slightly different body or a body similar to one of these other guys, and he could have lasted for, another decade. That would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah, we thought we had our ace versus their ace for a long time, and it just did not turn out that way. I mean, hell, even Bumgarner kind of flamed out a little bit towards the end.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was all the innings that they piled up. I mean, with Timmy, it was all the moving parts. It really was. But he and Kershaw were the two guys on the scene together at the same time. And it looked like that rivalry would go on forever. I respect the hell out of Kershaw. He's actually my favorite Dodger player and has been for a good 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, I respect him as a player. I hate the guy. It's hard to hate some of these guys. Like, Dave Roberts. He seems like a pretty stand-up guy. Mookie Betts, right? Some of these guys that are, now Justin Turner and Max Muncy and some others. Easy to hate. Some of these others are kind of like, well, he doesn't seem like a bad guy.
Fun fact
to be on the wrong
Kershaw. Back in the day, I used to make buttons and magnets and just little circles with logos and stuff on them until I got shut down. And somebody ordered from me one day a bunch of LA Dodger ones because she was going to attach them to bows and give them to Clayton Kershaw's wife because they were friends.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like some fan.
Well, that's pretty cool.
And they were going to give them to Kershaw's wife for the newborn baby. So there is a huge possibility that something I made ended up on Kershaw's daughter's head. And it was funny. I was watching a video the other day of epic moments from the season, and Kershaw's 3,000 strikeouts came up, and the family was there. And I saw the daughter because she's like 11 or 12 at this point, and I was like, that timing makes a whole lot of sense for when I was doing that thing. So, I've always kind of had that special place, like, oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure that Kershaw's daughter once wore something that I made on her head. And I just thought that was cool.
That is pretty cool. Wow. That's it would be cool if you could have gotten a picture of it or something like that.
Right.
Do a little CSI zoom in enhance. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but who knows if he had pictures of the babies at that time, with the privacy.
So the Giants looked like they were plummeting towards not just mediocrity, but one of the worst teams in baseball. Like you said, if this is the fourth win in a row, it's buoying our spirits a little bit. They're 64-68 coming in, so they might be 65-68 after tonight. 11.5 games back of the West, 7 games back of the wild card. Again, we're not talking playoffs right now. They got 29 games left in the season after tonight. It's not just being 7 or 6 games back of the wild card. It's the number of teams ahead of you. And you have the Cards, the Reds, and the Mets all ahead of them. They would have to pass all 3 to get to that third wild card spot. And that's where the math just doesn't work out. For those who are like, well, 7 games, 6 games in 30, it's possible. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, the math is possible. But what that means is that not only the Giants would have to play ungodly baseball, like easily 22-8 kind of thing, if not better than that, but the Mets and or the Cards and or the Reds have to play much, much, much worse than 500. All 3 of them. And that's where you have the problem. You could have 1 be under 500. You could have 2 be under 500. To have all 3 not just under 500, but way under 500, it's just not happening. So one of those teams is going to hang on for that spot. And even if the Giants go 20-10, they're not catching it, all 3.
The crazy part about that is they could actually go 20-10 because the Dodgers are the only team left on the schedule with a winning record.
Yeah.
That's it. They travel to Arizona, and Arizona is right now 4 under.
Well, we just discussed, though, apparently they are only going to win against winning teams right now. Well, no, that didn't work with San Diego, as you pointed out. But
right. But, I mean, it's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, the rest of their schedule is Baltimore, Colorado, St. Louis, Arizona, the Dodgers, and St. Louis, Colorado. That's it. Those teams I just mentioned, that's the entire schedule the rest of the way. Yeah. They have 1, 2, 3, 6 against Colorado, 1, 2, 3, 6 against Arizona, those 7 games against the Dodgers are literally the only games they have left against winning teams.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Aside from tomorrow. So 8 games left against winning teams.
Out of the 29.
And they've secured their victory tonight. So, that's that's where the frustration of those Verlander starts comes in, or what we talked about last week with just breaking 3 or 4 games the other way. They would be in this, and there wouldn't be 3 teams above them. But because there are, it just doesn't make it feasible.
No, it just doesn't make it feasible. It's look. My goal is baby steps right now. Let's just get back to 500. Right, that's number one. Let's get back to 500, and let's see if we can finish this season above 500. Anything else is going to be a cherry on top at this point, and we wouldn't even start to think about any crazy playoff possibility unless the Giants went on just an epic tear. Let's say they won, 10 out of 12, and all 3 of those teams kind of started to fade, and they suddenly find themselves 3 games back or 2 games back of 1 or 2 teams ahead of them. Then we can start thinking about it, but it's just not worth it at this point. Now, to Matt Chapman and Adames and others' credit, and granted, they probably have to say this because it's the right thing to say as a player, they still believe they can do this. They still believe they can get back in the race. So, winning 4 in a row against 2 really good teams, that's going to help them with their confidence. Especially, these are not close games. By the way, the final is a final now. The game is a final. 12-3. Giants, Whisenhunt gets the win. So, so another 3 games below 500 and going into tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. One of the things I wanted to talk about was Devers. I think many of you have heard the stat as of a few games ago. The Giants have the worst record in all of baseball since the Devers trade. The Nationals, I think, were 1 game ahead or tied with the Giants. Boston, ironically, had the 3rd best record in all of baseball since the trade. And they've played themselves into a wild card spot. And the Giants have played themselves out of the NL West lead and a wild card spot. It's been tale of 2 different seasons of 2 different teams when it looked like on paper the Giants obviously got better and the Red Sox got worse. Yet it couldn't have been more true that the opposite happened to each of those teams. And, a lot of people think, oh, it's Devers, right? Well, I mean, yeah, he hasn't played as well in San Francisco as he did in Boston. And what's really funny, I was joking with Eric before the show. I put his stats out here, and then what does he do tonight? He goes 4 for 4 with 2 home runs and 5 RBIs and a walk. And he absolutely just, his stats just kind of elevated. So coming into the game, he was hitting, he hit 272 with Boston for the year. He was hitting 226, so, almost a full 50 points lower. His OPS with Boston was 905. His OPS with the Giants is 742, more than 160 points less than with Boston. And he was only 50 at-bats shy of his at-bat total with Boston. Well, after tonight, his stats have improved tremendously. He is now hitting 240 with the Giants. I just said 223. His OPS went from, what did I just say, 740 something?
742.
To 796. He raised his OPS over 50 points in 1 game. So now he's about 110 points shy of his Boston. So obviously, it's not a, quote, small sample size. It's 61 games, 225 at-bats. He had 73 games and 272 at-bats with Boston. But I did want to point out is that, Oracle's a harder park to hit in number 1. So his power might be down. He, however, had 15 home runs in Boston, 12 in San Francisco. That's pretty much on par on a per at-bat ratio. His RBIs are way down. He's only got 31 with the Giants. He had 58 with Boston, but that has more of a product of the table setters ahead of him. But the concern was the strikeouts. Even though he has 50 less at-bats, he has 1 more strikeout than he did in Boston, 77 to 76. So his whiff percentage is way up, which definitely contributes to all this stuff going on. But my point is, I'm not looking at Devers right now and thinking he's the issue, because he doesn't affect the pitching. He doesn't affect the bullpen blowing up games. He doesn't affect the entire team's lack of hitting with 2 outs or runners in scoring position. Yeah, he's underperformed, But he has not been the sole cause of this. And in fact, he's been one of their best power hitters since the trade. And, oh, by the way, I guess once he reaches 30 home runs, because he probably will, he's at 27 now, unfortunately, that's not going to count.
It doesn't count.
Exactly. Because Brandon Belt was, what, 1 homer shy in 21? So we still have not had a San Francisco Giant hit 30 home runs in a season since Barry Bonds. I mean, this is getting ridiculous, Eric. And Devers is not going to count if he crosses 30. We're going to have to wait till next year because no one's
But he's
30.
going to do it next year. Yeah, he's going to do it next year, though. I have no doubt about that.
No. You look at 61 games, he's hit 12 bombs. So, you extrapolate that out by 2.5. You're right at 30.
I'm not quite sure.
So it's my Alexa's going off now. Yeah, he'll be right at 30. It's going to be close though. I don't think it's going to be in the bag. That's the thing. We'll see. But
I don't know. I think he's figuring out Oracle Park. I really do.
Yeah, a lot of players have adjustment periods.
Right. He's yet to put one in the water.
Yeah, that's
that's the really surprising thing. His homers have all seemed to really come to dead center or left center field. Mm-hmm. He's hit, I think, 1 bomb to the really deep part into the bullpens, but he's yet to really put it into the water. So when he starts actually hitting these fastballs he's having a problem with lately, I can see him destroying some. I mean, he might hit 35 or 40. I don't know. Maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh, no, he could. I just meant his on pace this year with the Giants is a little bit below that, or right at 30. But again, like you said, he's figuring it out. So I would presume that next year's numbers are going to be a little bit better. Hopefully he's hitting 270, 280 instead of 240, and his power will be right up there. But again, the point I'm trying to make is I've heard some fans kind of sour on Devers because correlation is not always causation, right? Yes, the correlation is they make the trade and they bomb. But is it because of him? No, it's not. It was coincidence, perhaps. I don't know. I don't think it changed clubhouse chemistry a lot. I know a lot of Boston fans, they seem to think that that's been the issue because they couldn't wait to get rid of him. They considered him a cancer in the clubhouse. But other than not necessarily wanting to play first base right away, but eventually was fine with it, I haven't heard any reports or read anything about him being an issue in the clubhouse. Have you?
No, and he seems to get along when you get the shots in the dugout of Ramos and Adames and him and even Matos. I watched it after his first home run tonight. He went down the line that the Giants apparently do now in the dugout when somebody hits a homer. And at the end of it, he had a little thing with Matos. And I mean, Matos is a guy who's been up and down during Devers' tenure already. And the fact that he's getting along with him, it seems like he's getting along with the guys. It really does. I think he's one of those quiet leader types. And somebody like Buster Posey, that's probably why he tabbed him for this, because he was a quiet leader himself. Mm-hmm. So I think he's more of a lead by example type player. And, oh wow, his nickname is Rafi Big Stick. That's funny. But he really seems to be getting along and integrating with the guys. Even when I think I saw Schmidt hit a homer one day, and I think Rafi went to tap him on the head, and Schmidt seems to be like Adrian Beltre and doesn't like his head touched. Yeah. And I just thought it was hysterical that Devers was the one that was touching it. So I think he's getting along with the teammates. I think Boston fans just they got sour because they felt the need to blame somewhere. And granted, they have gotten better and the Giants have gotten worse since the trade. I'm like you. I don't think it's because of the talent. We also got to look at the fact that Chapman went down 2 different times during this time. Giants have a winning record when Chapman's in the lineup. They don't when Chapman's out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. That's a big deal. Starting pitching and bullpen, those are all things that factor into it. You talked about how he's driven in fewer runs with the Giants at a much slower pace. Again, another factor into it. So I think Rafi fits right in. And I love having him as a Giant. His at-bats are must-see TV. I stop every time, I'm annoyed at myself when I run outside real quick and I'm like, oh, damn, Devers was coming up. And I mean, I'm listening on the radio when I run outside, but I wish I was watching. He's been getting eaten up by some fastballs lately, but that's about it. He seems to, and I don't think that's going to continue forever. We got to remember the guy was a little bit injured when he first got to the Giants, yet he's played more games than any other player on the San Francisco Giants. Like Adames leads the team with 130 games played. Devers is at 133.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, you got to give him credit for going out there every day, and his teammates give him credit for the same thing. So I think Devers is going to be a good leader in the clubhouse, and I think he's a good guy to build around. I really do. We've got pretty much a set infield now for the Giants, with Schmidt looking like a good ball player again. So, it's kind of nice to be able going forward for the team for 2026, because as long as they stay healthy, they should have a decent core of guys together. I mean, you got Ramos set in left, you got Lee set in center. Right field's a question mark, and catcher is honestly kind of a question mark right now, since Bailey can't hit, and if things change with the strike zone, then he's going to be totally, his defensive run saved is going to totally change, because he is second in the league in defensive run saved, Bailey. But like Adley Rutschman's going to become available for the Orioles on the trade market after this year, so you got to look at things like that. But I think Devers is like right there at the core. I love watching him hit. I really do. The swing he puts on the ball, it's so balanced.
It's
every
balanced
single
and
time.
smooth. Yeah.
Right.
I would say in a different category. I'm not saying bad or worse or whatever. It's just in a clinically, I should say, aesthetically different category than like a Ken Griffey Jr. or Will Clark, right? That's your classic left-handed, just beautiful swing. So I'm not going to put it as a work of art, but it's functionally sound. It just looks effortless. You know what I mean? He just kind of, like tonight, the second home run he hit, I mean, he just kind of swung. It didn't even look like he had a lot of bat speed. And he just pokes it to left. And when you watch it, it's like, oh, that's a line out to the left fielder. And it just carries and it went out of the yard. It was just a weird... He has a lot of mass behind that. I get it. But he has a very efficient swing. He's kind of fun to watch. And he's one of the only Giants that, I try to pause and wait for his at-bats. Just like, maybe not on the same level, certainly, as a Barry Bonds. But... kind of getting that feeling like, oh, this guy could go deep at any point, Speaking of which,
he's the closest thing.
He's the closest thing they have right now. Do you like him hitting second?
It's funny because that's where the RBIs that you mentioned come into play.
Yeah.
Because the 7, 8, 9 guys are not necessarily getting on base as much, but this is also the new baseball, thought process is to just hit your best hitting guys at the top of the order. I would prefer to see him batting third and Adames batting second. I'm really impressed with the turnaround Adames has had this season. He's really grown on me, and been much better than I thought he was going to be when the season started. Like, I had issues. We talked about it on this show, but I think Devers is more suited for the 3-hole. And I think when a new manager gets in there next year, it's a possibility that's where he could drop down to.
I personally, I would like to see Lee, hitting left, Adames hitting right, and Devers hitting left. 1, 2, 3. That's what I'd like to see.
Or, even Ramos could be in the 2-hole, but I think Ramos is more suited for like the 4 or 5 position. Like Lee, Adames, Devers, Ramos, Chapman, Schmidt.
Yeah.
Like, that's a solid top 6 in the order.
Yeah.
It really is not a bad team compared to the other teams. And if Matos continues to actually, play well, that adds another aspect to it.
He's playing better right now, and he's looking a little bit more confident.
Yeah,
that's been my impression of him.
I think Devers is more of a 3-hitter than he is a 2-hitter.
I agree with you, but you're right though. The philosophy is, if you get 1 extra at bat per week because you're hitting second instead of third or fourth, or 2 at bats per week, that adds up to maybe 20 over a season. And out of those 20, you could hit two or 3 more home runs. That could make the difference in 1 or 2 games. That's the philosophy behind it. And I'm not going to disagree with that. Statistically, I think that is true. But you also have to counter that with what you brought up. It's like, if you hit second, the beginning of the game, only one guy is going to be on base max ahead of you. The rest of the game, it could be anyone, right? I mean, but you're relying on the 8, 9 guys to be up there. And like you
Right.
said, there's
Patrick
less of a
Bailey,
chance of
Andrew
that.
Kisner.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So, it's like,
you're not going to see those guys do it.
it's like, the different parts of the lineup can get on base after your first at bat. I get that part, but you're talking about the 8-9 hitters as opposed to the 2 and 3 hitters or the 1 and 2 hitters. So it's like, those guys are going to get on base more often, so that might counter the 20 extra at bats you get. I don't know. I haven't seen a cohesive, thorough study of it, but yeah, you definitely don't want to hit him ninth. I know that. I think we can agree on that.
As somebody, I hit leadoff or in the 2-hole pretty much my whole life. And I was a table setter, and you need table setters ahead of the RBI guys. And Devers is clearly an RBI guy. Yes, he's going to hit into his double plays. He seems to do that. He has
one stolen base this year. Don't short him.
Oh, wow.
They're both with
Scored
Boston, by the way.
Tonight.
Yeah, he has one stolen base and one caught stealing.
I believe
both with
that.
Boston. Nothing with the Giants. He is
there it
anchored
is.
on the
You're right.
base.
0-0.
Yeah.
As well, he should be. That's
So
why I don't like him as a table setter.
No, I agree with you. I would push him back a little bit. However, you look at tonight and you're like, okay, well, you have 4 for 4, 2 bombs. What are you going to do? And he had 5 RBI tonight. So, some of those guys did get on base, which is great. So this kind of ties into the next spot. You put this in the show notes, but should the Giants call up Eldridge for September? Right now, he's got 15 bombs, 8 doubles, 51 ribbies, 821 OPS in 50 games in AAA. And then you also note he has 68 strikeouts and 180 at bats. That's more than 1 out of 3.
Just had to be fair.
Times. Yeah, no,
Right.
It's true. Like, yeah, he's hitting, well, but he's striking out even at a bigger clip than he hits, right? So that's more than a 333 strikeout average, if you will.
Yeah, that's like 350.
Yeah, so that's not very good. That said, that's today's game, right? The high strikeouts come with most of these players these days. But he has really excelled in AAA. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of people were concerned about his height being the big hole in his swing, which might be coming through in the strikeouts. But he still makes contact enough. It just launches out of the park. He's had some incredible homers this year in AAA. And so, Posey's been played coy about it, saying that we're probably not going to call him up. But we discussed this before. If the Giants are out of it, is there harm in bringing him up for a cup of coffee just to see how he handles it? I mean, I know it's a small sample size no matter what. But what do they get? Did they get 1 extra spot in September or 2 extra spots? I can't remember. They used to open it up to 40. It's two spots. Okay. I actually love the days when they opened it up to 40 just because I bet you as a major league ball player who was perpetually in AAA or Quad A, you loved that, right? Because that's when you got your ticket to the show. That's when you got your cup of coffee. The 15 guys that get called up in September. It was like almost a whole nother team. But now, of course, it's only 2, so it's really put the restriction on a lot of these players getting that chance. But hell, Bruce Bochy's son even got called up a little bit in the Giants.
That's the only way that would have happened. There's no way Brett Bochy would have been called up.
Yeah,
yep.
Brett Bochy would not have had a cup of coffee if that had not. Yeah, if they had the two players expansion. But I'm for it. I just want to see maybe a couple weeks, give him a little taste. There's no pressure on him. That's the thing. I think it comes with no strings attached, no pressure. Give him that taste. And maybe when he gets called up for real in 26, assuming that happens, he'll have a little bit of that experience, and maybe the nerves won't be as bad, etc. But I don't know the psychology of all these players, and I don't know what their plans are and how that affects the contract structures and all that, which I don't think it would because it's the end of your call-up. What do you think?
Well, there's a few factors. He's only 20 years old. He turns 21 in October.
Yeah, can't even buy a beer.
Throwing a young guy out there like that, it does have its possible pitfalls.
True.
If the Giants were to call him up, though, I think he'd need to be in the lineup every day, or at least 6 out of 7 games. We talked about Devers and how smooth his swing is. Eldridge makes it look so effortless. Like, this guy's hitting bombs to left center field like it's nothing. He hit a piss missile to right field the other day. Oh my God, the ball was smoked and got out of there in like 2.1 seconds. It was unbelievable. So he makes it look easy as well when he connects. But I don't want them to call him up if he's going to, play once or twice a week.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got to get some playing time in. And the funny thing is Dominic Smith is the one who gets screwed in all this.
Very true.
Because Eldridge would play first or DH, and Devers would play first or DH. There's a dearth of left-handed first baseman all of a sudden. And so I'm in favor of it if they do it right. If they bring him up and they decide, we're only going to play him every other day or every 3 days out of every, 6 games, I don't want to see it happen. I think the problem is the River Cat schedule actually goes until like September 24th or something like that this season. So they're kind of competing for a playoff spot. And I don't know if that's a factor. Like, you bring in the human factor. I don't know if that's a factor from the front office to be like, okay, well, he can help Sacramento get over the hump and get into the playoffs this season. But I don't see the harm in giving him a shot at big league pitching. I really don't, especially with the schedule that we talked about they got coming up. The Dodgers are the only, scary team left on the schedule after tomorrow. So why not give him a shot? I really thought about 2-3 weeks ago, I was like, no, leave him down there. Make sure he gets the at-bats down there. But if they can give him the at-bats at the big league level, I say screw it. Call him up for September, see what the guy can do. I don't care if the River Cats make the playoffs or not. Maybe Wade Meckler and Brett Wisely can get him there. I want to see what Eldridge has to offer. And him being so young, it's like a really good glimpse into the possibilities they have. So, yeah, I'm in favor of them calling him up.
Yeah, no, I'm with it too. And he had that weird streak. He had that missile you were talking about to right field. He had 7 straight opposite field home runs. And while some people were like, "Oh, maybe he's not going to be able to catch up to major league pitching, and that's why he was, late on those," it's like, no, I think that's a good sign. I think it's the fact that he can stay behind the ball and still, punch it out. I think that's if he had a bunch of opposite field, floaters down the line, yeah. Maybe that'd be the case, but he's hitting it with such power to the opposite field. I don't think that's him, quote, being late. You're not going to get that kind of power if you're late.
He's going with the pitch. It seems like a conscious decision. He seems smart for a 20-year-old to have that smooth of a swing and be able to hit the ball the way he has. I want to see what he has to offer. I really do. I think he's got the chops. He seems like the best talent the Giants have had. There's gonna be Brandon Belt comparisons, and I get it because Belt was such a hot prospect, but I think he's better. I already think he's going to be better than Brandon Belt. Like, I haven't been this excited about a Giants prospect in all the years we've been doing, that I've been on this podcast. There's a few guys
I was a little excited for Joey
probably
Bart. I admit, I was excited for Joey Bart, and that obviously we know what happened there.
That's all right. I was all on the Christian Arroyo train, so we can all take our lumps when we get them.
It is right.
But I think Eldridge really has what it takes. I really do. Yeah. And like you said, he goes with the pitch, and he's smart. He really seems to be, and to be that young and to be that locked in like he is. That's what blows my mind. I didn't even realize he was only 20 years old until I did research earlier today. I thought maybe he was 21 or 22. And the fact that he's 20, he's got so much to learn. All he can do is get better.
Good call. One thing that came out yesterday was the 2026 Major League Baseball schedule. And in a very weird occurrence, not only the Giants are the first team playing, they are the highlight showcase game, the only game of the night for the first game of the season, but they open at home against the Yankees. The Giants have always opened on the road. That's what they like because of the weather and other issues. But so it's a very unusual opening series, and obviously Major League Baseball, this is their decision. The Giants will take it. They want the exposure and all that, don't get me wrong, but they do typically like to open on the road. But yeah, March, and that's also the earliest opening season, regular season game in the States anyway, not like in Japan or something. In Major League Baseball history, it's going to be March 25th next year at Oracle Park. Yankees versus Giants, only game of the night. Then they have an off day, kind of like what happens in those showcase games, and then they play 2 more against the Yankees before they continue on.
And then they're off on a Sunday. It's weird.
Yeah, isn't that weird? So anyway, I just thought that was interesting to bring up because the Giants are usually the roadie, open up on the road, but it'll be fun.
Well, what's notable
just hope
about
the weather's good.
Well, what's notable is that the Giants really always liked to start on the road so that they could kind of guarantee those last 6 to 7 games as home games.
Yep.
And they finish the year at home next year. They've got the Twins for 3 and then the Dodgers for 3 to finish out the season at home. And so, like, they kind of got that advantage that they always look for without even trying for it. And now I don't know why MLB decided that Yankees Giants should be the opening night game. I don't know if there's any significance to it. You know, I mean, yes, we know the New York roots. Obviously, that's why I'm even here talking about the Giants.
Sure.
But, like, it's surprising that they would take the Yankees and the Giants and make them the showcase. You know, neither team is probably going to win the World Series this year. I mean, the Yankees are fighting still, but they probably aren't. And the Giants are going to be coming off a subpar year. So I don't know why they made them the showcase, but I'll take it. We still have no idea what channel this game's going to be on because ESPN, I believe, is done with their baseball rights after this season. So I think that there's going to be either some new contract or some new things. But it is kind of cool to be the standalone. It's going to be
like
game,
on Fubo or something. Some stupid channel. The Hallmark Channel.
I remember, right? I remember, though, for a few years, they were doing the defending champ playing that opening game, you know? But now that they released the schedule, you know, in the end of August, they don't even know who the defending champ is.
Right.
You know, there was one year Washington opened their stadium. They got the standalone game the night before the rest of the season started. So I don't know how they got blessed with this idea, and it's kind of cool, though. I really do think so, because baseball fans are so starved for baseball by the time the season comes around.
Totally.
They're going to get a lot of viewers for that game, and I think that that's really cool because, you know, there are Giants, and we like to see them featured. You know, we'll still bitch about how ESPN covers the game if they do.
Sure,
or whoever.
There'll be a Yankee bias, no doubt.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You know, all they'll be talking about is Aaron Judge, and, you know, what happens now after they fired Aaron Boone, and, you know, I don't actually think that'll happen, but you know, it's going to be all that kind of crap. Yeah. You know, can the Yankees bounce back from an off year? And, you know, it's not going to be about the Giants, but it is cool that they're the feature game. Like, the closest they've come to this is 3 years ago, maybe, after the All-Star break, they had a standalone game against the Dodgers on that Thursday, and then everybody went back to play on that Friday. So that's kind of the closest they've had to a showcase since that time. But I think it's kind of kitschy. It's kind of fun. Personally, I hate the Yankees. I've probably said this on this show last year during the World Series. I think I hate the Yankees more than I hate the Dodgers. So it's kind of fun for me to see that. It is weird, though, that they're only starting with 3 against the Yankees and then immediately going on the road to San Diego. Yeah. You know, that's not something we usually see. And then they come home right after that again and play 4 against the Mets and 3 against the Phillies. Holy crap. What a schedule to start the season. It's an 3 against the Yankees, 3 against San Diego, 4 against the Mets, 3 against the Phillies. They could be like 0-13 or 1-12 if things don't go their way.
That's true. That's a lot of good teams right at the beginning, but, you know.
Right?
We'll see.
It's fun.
Well, real quickly, we'll just go through who's hot and who's not. We were just talking about Luis Matos. You put in there, he's 9 for his last 18 with a couple of bombs, 3 doubles, and a triple. Willie Adames, of course, had the 2 bombs in the first game against Milwaukee. He's had 3 home runs this week, hitting .294. And Patrick Bailey, he's on the who's not list at 2 for 15. But just to highlight out there, if you look at Fangraphs, and other people have pointed this out, they have all their advanced defensive metrics there. And you have your framing and defensive runs saved, and that's for, you know, caught stealing and putouts and plate blocking and all the other advanced metrics they have. But his defensive runs saved above average is 27.7. Second is 19.9. Like, if you look, you break down a lot of his metrics, and the framing one is a big one, which you alluded to earlier. He is in a class by himself, and this is why we will accept his poor hitting right now. But you point out that next year with ABS, that framing value is going to go down.
Yes. And if ABS is still
I should say if. You're right. Yeah. If ABS goes in next year, his defensive value is going to plummet. I shouldn't say plummet. It'll go down. He'll still be in the top. 5 or something like that, I'm sure. But it will go down, and that will be another conversation that we'll have in terms of his value to the Giants. But as of now, I mean, he's just so valuable defensively that you can kind of stand a Mendoza hitting level catcher. I mean, we lived years with that, right? With Terry Kennedy and things, guys like that. It's just catchers have never been the strong suit of the Giants until Buster Posey came along. But he was kind of the outlier. We had a couple of good seasons with like Benito Santiago and things like that, but we never really had, that true catcher. Now, we thought he was going to be the next guy after we thought Joey Bart was going to be the next guy. But offensively, it just doesn't seem to be clicking with Patrick Bailey. So I'm hoping in the offseason, just something he can work with someone to improve his contact percentage and his bat speed and his exit velocity, because all those are they're so poor. When he does hit the ball, he just doesn't hit it hard. It's weak.
No.
He rolls it over, he slaps it. It's not good exit velocity. But again, wonderful catcher, best in the league by far. Actually, it's not even just the catcher. It's of all fielding positions, he has the most defensive runs saved and above average than anyone else by a long shot. Like, he's like a full standard deviation above. It's crazy. So we'll take him right now.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and on the Who's Not list, we have Casey Schmidt. He was getting a little bit of a groove there, but this last week he's 3 for 18. Again, this is a week. It's not that big of a deal, but we'll keep an eye on that. Transactions and injuries, we got Randy Rodriguez, who seemed to be struggling a little bit. He was put on the 15-day IL. Keaton Wynn was called up. Landon Roop, we thought he had a devastating knee injury. It ends up being a deep knee bone bruise, so he kind of avoided a serious injury. He's on the 15-day IL.
But they did shut him down.
They did shut him down?
Yeah, they shut him down, though. He will not be back.
Yeah, I figured he wouldn't be, but I had not seen that. So Carson Wisenhunt was called up, but he got the win tonight. Back a few days ago, they optioned Tyler Fitzgerald to AAA when Matt Chapman was reactivated, and on the 21st, they put Eric Miller from the 15-day IL to the 60-day, so he's done for the year, and that's where we got the contract of Joel Piguero up, and he pitched again tonight. I think he's got 5 2/3 innings of shutout ball so far, and his whip's under 1. Small sample size.
I was going to say, quick question on Piguero. He is. I don't know if you've seen him. It took that guy 10 years to get to the majors.
Yeah.
And when you watch how he pitches, it's like, how the hell did it take him so long?
I know, right?
I really like Piguero. Because let's be honest, because of the trades that the Giants made, the bullpen right now is an open competition for next year's bullpen.
Yes, it is.
And Piguero is throwing his hat in the ring like crazy right now. It's so fun to see.
Yeah, he's touching 100, and so far so good. So why not? Another guy, another flamethrower in the mix. They also optioned Grant McCray and Kaiwei Tang and to Sacramento, and they called up Luis Matos, who he's been playing well in his little cup of coffee backup right now. So I'm hoping maybe this sticks around for September and into next year, because he's one of those guys that we thought could always do it. His minor league stats are really, really good, but he comes up to the majors and he just can't seem to cut it. So, maybe he's just one of those players. Takes a while to jump that hump. Maybe he'll do it this year. I don't know.
Well, when we talked about who's hot, and you saw that I said he was 9 for his last 18, that was in only 5 games. So he had 2 homers, 3 doubles, and a triple over 5 games. Mm-hmm. So he has those stretches, where he can really do it. And I'm trying to quickly pull up the box score for tonight to see how he did to extend or, not extend that. Let's see. Matos. He went 0 for 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not going to get it done every day. But, right, still 9 for 22 is pretty damn good over 6 games, let's be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And then just another Major League news. I like to put at least one line in every week. It was cool to see Cal Raleigh hit 50 home runs. He now set the record for the most home runs of a primary catcher, and he's still got a full month left. So this dude could end up with 55 to 60 at this point. I mean, he's having just a dream season, isn't he? Big dumper. This is crazy.
It's unbelievable to watch him. It really is.
And he's a switch hitter.
Although, yeah, that's the thing that blows me away. He could pass, I think Mickey Mantle has the most home runs by a switch hitter in a single season. I think it's 54 or something like that. And he's going to pass it.
Yeah, I would think so, right?
Yeah.
Let's check
Let's
that.
see. I Googled it right now. Mickey Mantle. Where'd it go? Oh, that's no, that's career. I'm gonna switch it by in a
Yeah,
season.
54, 1961.
Okay. 1961 when him and Maris were having the year. Yeah.
They're
He's
having
going to
a
pass that.
battle.
And
He's got 5 more to hit.
Like how many games is this guy playing as a catcher? Like we see Bailey getting a day or two off every week.
Right?
Cal Raleigh's not getting a day or two off every week. That's the thing that blows my mind about what he's doing is the guy's getting in the squat every single day.
Squat.
And as a former catcher, I had to. As a former catcher, I know what it does to your knees. As a former umpire, I know what it does to your knees. My knees are the thing that kill me nowadays more than anything else. But he has played 130 games. Granted, when Cal Raleigh has the day off, he doesn't have the day off. He's the DH. And that's the biggest difference. You know, so not all these home runs came as a catcher, but as a primary catcher, which is the stat. He beat Salvi Perez out.
Of your games are at that position.
Right.
Yeah, you know you're right about that.
And he beat Salvi Perez out. I think Salvador had 49 one year.
Yep.
And now he has, 50. But I mean, look at this. As a catcher himself, he's hit 40 of the 50 home runs as a catcher, and 10 of the home runs has come as a DH. And it's the exact same pace. 10 out of 139 plate appearances, 40 out of 433 plate appearances. Wow. So he doesn't slow down at all.
Yeah, it's actually slightly higher as a catcher,
150.
to be honest.
Right, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. I mean, he strikes out a ton too, but when he makes contact, he does. It's been a lot of fun to see. It really has. And I hope the Mariners make the postseason just for the sake of getting a guy like that into the postseason, because you hate it when guys have exceptional years and then you don't see them after September. So you hope he gets a shot at some October glory.
Yeah, they got a 72% chance to make the postseason right now on Baseball Reference. And the Mariners have played 133 games, and he's hitting 130 of them. He's played 130.
Right.
So there's only been 3 games in which he did not participate at least a little bit. That's crazy. That is wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're 1.5 back of the Astros for the division.
Yeah.
And cursory glance, they're pretty much up there. Yeah. The 3 wildcard teams right now are Red Sox, Yankees, and Mariners.
Right.
So he's got a shot to get to the playoffs this season.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun to see the Mariners in there. It's one of those teams I don't hate. And they don't have a World Series, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, fine. I don't. Of course,
don't even have a World Series appearance.
Some of these darling teams, when they finally win, if they get more success than that, then they become cocky and bad. I don't know. Look at the Astros. They were like the darlings, and they hadn't won, and everyone's like, oh, they just never get to the postseason, and this is great. They were the worst team, and for 5 years in a row, and then they win in 2017, which Sports Illustrated famously called back in 2014 or whatever it was. Remember where they said that the Houston Astros, your 2017 World Series champs, and everybody laughed at them, and then they were freaking right. But they go on and they're like in the postseason every year, and they've been to like 4 World Series or something. I mean, it's just been insane. So I don't want that kind of success for Mariners.
Yeah, I went from loving Houston because I really enjoyed Altuve and all those guys to hating them, not only because they were there every year, but the cheating scandal really changed it.
Yeah, no, that really threw the gasoline on the fire, because then you're like, oh, they're getting there because of that. Okay.
Right. It's not like, fatigue with, like, say, the Patriots or the Chiefs in football. Because I'm one of the few people who is not fatigued by the Chiefs, and I'll watch Patrick Mahomes every game, every day if I can. I think he's the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
But, of course, I'm a Niners fan, so I have reasons to be very fatigued by them.
Absolutely. You got
That's
2
Super Bowls they should have won against them. 2! Right. In which they had in their grasp.
I totally get that. Yeah, I totally get that. One of them, they had, a 10-point lead. That's all right. The Super Bowl is in Santa Clara this year, and everybody's going to enjoy it when the Chicago Bears are there. So I'm happy about that. Oh,
there you go. Yeah, the Bears visit Levi's again this year, by the way, in September, right after Christmas, I believe.
No. Yeah. That's December, not September.
Sorry, I meant
you said September. No, that's because I was going to say late December, and then you said September, and it threw me.
My bad.
Yeah, it is late December. It's like week 16.
I do know that Christmas is in December. It may not be a practicing Catholic, but we do celebrate Christmas. So.
You mean your tree doesn't go up on August 31st?
Oh no, the rest of my family's like that though. They would love to listen to Christmas music all year round. And I like Christmas, but I can only stand it, like start the season after Thanksgiving. I can't do it before then, like all the stores do and the ads, and I can't, because to me it dilutes the season. It dilutes it. It makes it less special.
My late wife was into that, and when we moved into a house in 2018, we decorated for Christmas like November 1st or something like that, and I didn't care. It's not my thing, so it made her happy. But the one thing I did find about Christmas is I know the Hallmark movies are formulaic. I know they all follow the same line, but I just don't hate them. I think they're fun. So, that's the one part of the Christmas season that still gets to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have had to make some concessions. We won't obviously get a tree before Thanksgiving because the local lots aren't open until the day after Thanksgiving, and we buy fresh trees every year. But they've pulled my arm enough to where we have to decorate. Like, that's probably a week before Thanksgiving, like mid-November, around my birthday, we decorate, and I'm just like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But it makes them happy. Yeah, exactly. Right. Happy wife, happy life, and same with the kids.
Exactly.
Good. 3 against 1. I don't want to be that much of a stodgy old guy on the lawn, like we were last week, which was hilarious, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, coming up, the Giants have 1 more against the Cubs tomorrow afternoon, 3 against the Orioles. It'll be orange against orange again. That's always weird when both of those teams play. And then they go on the road, 3 at Colorado, and I think we'll be recording. We'll get together again and talk about it, but probably next Wednesday or so. But yeah, that'll be it for episode 323. You can follow us collectively on Twitter at TortureCast or individually at ChadK21 or at 2OutHits with the number 2 for Eric. You can email us at torturecast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, and I'm actually posting on Instagram. So click on over and like us there on Instagram, and you'll get a few things a week. And then, of course, everything we post is always on your favorite podcast feed. If you're already listening to it, I don't need to tell you this. And everything we put out is on torturecast.com. Eric, do you have anything to pimp or
no, I'll just
talk about?
Tease that we might have a nice little surprise coming up in September. I'm just going to tease it for now. I will not say anything beyond that.
No, it's not
if we
confirmed
do,
yet.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Yep.
Right. If we do, though, it'll be a lot of fun, and I think that our listeners will appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm actually really excited about that possibility. So we'll see if it happens, and we'll be sure to put it out on the socials as well if we confirm it. So, all right, well, that'll do it for 323. We'll see you next week for 324. Until then, maybe the Giants can get a winning streak going, get back above 500, and maybe surprise the hell out of us. Until then, have a great week. We'll see you then. A-boom.
A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.